Everybody is trying to figure out what defense to run in college football 26. So in this video, I'm going to show you my personal favorite playbook, but I'm also going to put you on to some new formations that you might not be looking at yet. Stuff that has real potential if you use it right. And just a heads up, I'll be sprinkling in a few blitz setups throughout the video too, so stay locked in. Now let's get into it. Okay, so let's start this off by talking about some of the new stuff. So new formations, new plays. I'm going to use the 3-3-5 type playbook to kind of show you most of it because I think most of it's in here. So let's start with the formations. We have Penny, that's from last year. Over flex, I'm actually not 100% sure if that's new. I think there is a new flex formation, but I don't think it's this one. But I might be wrong. I just honestly didn't mess with this formation last year if it did exist. And then split was from last year as well. But then we have 3-4 tight, and this replaces 3-4 odd in this playbook. Now, if you're wondering what the difference is, I think the defensive linemen are just slightly different. They're just slightly aligned differently. So we'll have a look at this one. You're going to see it looks just like 3-4 odd. We have the zero technique defensive tackle. It's a symmetrical formation. This is basically pinch buck zero. Difference is these defensive linemen are shaded just a little bit differently. And this linebacker doesn't walk down into the gap automatically. So that is one difference. If you would want that to happen, you would just like show blitz with wire triangle, RB, pinch your linebackers with D-pad right, left stick down. I moved him, so he's not going to come in or come down. I'll do it again. So show blitz, pinch your linebackers, and that's going to walk your linebackers down into the gaps. This is a pretty good blitz still. Somebody still comes in sending 5. Quick heads up, if you want full schemes, in-depth breakdowns, and weekly updates for college football 26, check out acemadden.com. Everything's built to help you win more games, and if you use code ACE at checkout, you'll get 25% off. And be on the lookout for the first scheme. It's going to drop very soon out of the UAB playbook. It's a very explosive offense. Now let's get back to the video. Now let's talk about some of the nickel formations. So 3-3 over and 3-3 double mug were both in the game last year. Double mug was very good for a large majority of the game. But then we have some new formations. We have 2-4 load, 2-4 load mug, and then 2-4 single mug. Now, let me go ahead and talk about each of these very briefly. I will say when it comes to single mug, I think it's somewhat useless. So let me go ahead and show you double mug real quick. So we'll go to mid blitz, which is very popular play, especially for day one. If you shift your linebackers one way, so D-pad right and then left stick to the right, you're going to achieve single mug this way. So they've basically, skipped the step, right? So we can use single mug out of double mug, but they've simplified it to give you single mug without you having to do that. Now, obviously, there's differences. The difference would be you get some different plays. So 3-3 double mug does not have a cover 4 in it, and I don't think double mug has ever had cover 4 in it. But in single mug, you do get it. So cover 4 quarters is something that you get in single mug. So if you can find a way to get this linebacker down into the gap and do a double mug out of this, you now have cover 4 quarters, which is a match defense, out of double mug. But you'd have to find a way to do that. So I'll do D-pad right, and then I'll do RB for show blitz. And notice how he does not go into that double mug look. He goes way out here onto the edge. This could be useful, potentially. So like, look at the front. We have this really long front. Slot cornerback over here, defensive line, mugged up linebacker, and then your other linebacker becomes an edge rusher. So you can maybe come up with something good out of this look. But for the most part, I think single mug is somewhat useless, but that remains to be seen. We'll see as the game develops. So then we have 2-4 load and 2-4 load mug. I haven't done much lab work on either of these. But notice how some of these plays have baked in twist and stunts, like LBDE twist 3. And then for load, we'll go ahead and look at zero linebacker cross games. So this is what the front looks like. You have these two defensive linemen really close to each other. And then you have your linebackers attacking the other side. So defensive line attacks over here on the right. Linebackers attack on the left. Have no idea how this is going to turn out. It is a 6-man blitz, so somebody should be coming in free. But the trick is always trying to drop somebody into coverage and seeing if you can do a 5 versus 5 and get some pressure that way. So right there, everybody gets picked up. That just means that setup requires some work. And then to wrap up the new stuff that they've added, let's talk about some new plays. So let's go into Dime Rush, and you're going to see we have some new plays with Mug Blitz Text 3, Mug Defensive Tackle Loop 1, and Mug Sim Pressure. Now, it's not just Dime Rush that has these new plays. Check whatever defensive formation that you like for plays that have built in stunts and twists. So I'm going to look at Mug Blitz Text 3 here. I know the play art looks crazy. It doesn't look like it would be any good at all. But when you come out in the play, you're going to see it's not nearly as chaotic. And you're going to see this defensive end over here has this very unique blitz angle. He goes into the A gap. And this is going to create some unique opportunities for getting a +1. So let's see what happens off the edge. We get a free rusher, all because of that edge defender that goes into the A gap. So let's have a look. You're going to see that they have a really hard time handling that pressure. Center is occupied by the user in this case. You can definitely find ways to pick up this blitz, of course. It's not going to come in versus any pass protection. But we didn't have to do any kind of setup, and we got a +1 there, and we get it again. As for the playbook that I recommend to all of you and the one that I'll be using to start the year, the 326 playbook. Now, let me go ahead and explain why I'm going to be in this. The main reason is that it has pretty much every formation you could need in regards to alignment. So let's start with 326 odd. So this is effectively dollar. So if you come from Madden, this is basically dollar. And this is always one of the best formations in Madden or even college football last year. It's got a lot of speed on the field. It's hard to run against traditionally. And there's always a way to get pressure. Now, I will say that as of right now, it's not as good as it was because nobody really knows the setups that work. But it's a formation that is good to have in your playbook at all times. You also get 326 mug, which is basically the same thing. You just get your linebackers mugged up on the line of scrimmage. See how they're kind of aligned over the tackles, but it's very similar. Next, we have 3 high odd, which is going to be a unique formation to use in certain situations. They even have cover 3 man now, which is honestly a pretty diabolical coverage to include because it's aggressive shade down man across the board with 3 safeties over the top and thirds. Let me just straight up say that this is a really hard coverage to beat if it wasn't for the fact that you're only sending 3. So you might want to even blitz your user, hover here, get the computer to recognize you're sending 4, and then go cover the running back. That way you can get a shed like that a little bit faster. But yeah, this is a really hard coverage to pass against. And then you also have the zone version of that with 3 double cloud, which is going to be better for those of you who prefer zone coverage. And it looks basically the same. You just obviously have zones underneath. You have the outside cloud flats, which is always ideal for, protecting the sidelines a little bit better. And then you have the thirds over the top to really protect that. So this formation is a really good kind of prevent style defense, but it's not full prevent. Like if they run the ball, you're not going to be completely screwed. It's going to hold up okay against the run. You also have 3-4 odd, which is another formation that is always good to have. It's traditionally very similar to dollar. I mean, it's the same alignment really. You just get linebackers instead of slot cornerbacks. And yeah, pinch buck 0, which is always one of the best blitzes to start the year. And last year, I used it all year in college football 25. Let's see how this works out. Almost got that edge pressure in clean. Didn't quite come in. But it's similar to that 3-4 tight that I showed you earlier, where we have that edge pressure coming in, kind of overload that left side of the line, and have a chance at coming in clean just like that. As for the nickel formations, you have 3-3 mint. Unfortunately, this Crossfire LB Cross 3 Show 2 isn't as good this year. They have managed to fix the O-line logic on that. So if you look at this blitz, this would have came in clean like every single time last year. He actually almost came in clean there. He got chipped. Do it again. You're going to see that it just isn't as good. So the Crossfire is kind of dead. I would say mint for the meantime is not quite as good. So I'm going to kind of avoid it for now. But then you have double mug, which you have mid blitz. That's always going to be good against beginners, especially at the beginning of a year. 2-4 load mug, and then 2-4 single mug. I kind of talked about that earlier in the video. And then lastly, you have dime rush and dime load weak. Now, dime rush is one that I'm going to be messing with quite a bit. And the reason for that is I think a blitz like DB blitz could be very useful. And the reason for that is I think edge pressure is going to be pretty consistent this year. And you have a slot cornerback on each side. So if you face a formation like trips or trio, you have this guy over here to either send for pressure or drop into coverage. So I think this kind of formation can be useful. Maybe pinch D line, run something like this. Maybe do a little bit something like this and try to find a way to generate a +1. I don't really have it yet. Well, I guess maybe I do against this formation. But I think this can be really good, and I plan on using this quite a bit. I'll be uploading more blitz setups soon, so make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and then let me know in the comment section what defensive playbook you plan on using. And then, as always, if you want to get better at the game, go check out acemadden.com, become a member, use code ACE for 25% off. I promise you'll start winning more games. See you guys in the next one.